There are stigma in all societies, and people feel, first of all, that there's a misunderstanding that people with dementia are old people, number one, and that they are also showing symptoms more of Alzheimer's, and they feel that people with dementia has no more capabilities, that we are crazy, we talk rubbish, we are unable to move, unable to feed ourselves, and like nearly totally incapacitated, not only physically but mentally disruptive.
Yeah. To me, it's like that I don't want to associate to you.
As far as I know, stigma is, well, as the word stigma is something that is stuck onto us.
Yes.
Based on people's impression, rightly or wrongly, of our, well, first, our behavior, right? Rightly or wrongly, whether our behavior to them is good or bad, or well, acceptable or unacceptable.
Yes.
And being as a stigma, it means that they don't see us in a very good light, right?
Yes.
It's, we are normal, maybe not exactly abnormal, but not what they expect of a normal.
For me, I think stigma is like it's like a tag on, it's like you are tagged, it's something that's tagged onto you, that you are like branded, for this, That's
Okay, I think stigma is a perception that is rather narrow in its perspective, and it traps the meaning. Okay, it traps the meaning and doesn't allow any expansion of it. So it is something very negative. It is a prejudice almost, because it tends to be a negative connotation of any issue.
Stigma is negative thoughts towards certain condition of the person who's inflicted with certain illness. And then the person is like being distanced away from the relative or the society.
The stigma is very related to the face value, because because if you are living with a condition, regardless whether it's a stigma or something that is not perceived as very good one, then it's sort of like it brings down the value of the family. And also that is why people living with dementia, if you are from a Chinese family, they will try not to disclose it to protect the family image and value.
With living with dementia, we're like, so shocked, How could it be, and what actually happened? And because in our religion, if we believe we are very religious, God won't fall this illness upon a person, you see.
Yes.
And you read a lot of you recite the Quran every day. There's a saying that you won't have a dementia.
I see. Okay.
So somehow or other, it's like a face value too, like maybe this person he doesn't, or he or she doesn't read the Quran frequently. That's why he or she inflicted with it.
From what I understand, right? Like, okay, my extended family. There is that level of shame that is attached to anyone who has any condition. And I find that very hard to accept on a personal front, because I believe that there's no human being out there whose life is perfect. Everyone has got some condition, or, you know, some childhood trauma, or some problem in life. But when we attach that shame and, you know, that amount of guilt that is placed onto care partners, it becomes very unhealthy. You know, I find the Indian culture, and be it, you know, whether it is a Hindu or Muslim or Jewish or Christian or Buddhist family, Jain family, you know, that tends to be, I'll probably get shot for saying this, but there tends to be that level of drama, you know, present in the family. So any diagnosis, is often met with, oh my God, what did we do to deserve this? Or, you know, did we do something wrong in life? This is karma coming to bite.
Of a traditional fear, like what I described earlier, or a fear of not knowing what to do, how to help, and as a fear of making mistakes with people with dementia, because they are so cautious. So it takes, I believe that it takes us to, I want to use the word educate, but it sounds quite arrogant, but it is education. It is informing other people of what dementia is, and elaborating on the variants that different people have, and the different situations we are in, right?
Because most of the time when you are diagnosed with dementia is that we don't have access to the right information. Whatever information we have currently, I mean, especially in Singapore, is that it's just for the senior with dementia. That is the info we get. And we thought that straight with the diagnosis, we are going to be next day, we will wake up and become like the senior with dementia. Suddenly, you need to count on everybody for help, because that is basically the indirect message that we get from our diagnosis, you know, that they will straight reach out for you, please do the LPA and things like that, assign your decision-making power to your family and things like that. Yeah, even though for this is done with a good intention, but it sort of give you that message that, okay, you are not going to be able to do many things from now on, you know, you have to surrender and things like that. Yeah. So for
because I have taken care for my parent and my grandmother and my father-in-law, all these old folk. So I would think that this is for old age. It will never happen.
Other issues?
Other than that, it's okay.
Okay. Emily, you have FTD. Oh.
Yes, I have FTD, but until now it's still on, you know, they cannot confirm. And I do struggle with my language. So, and then, and like what you say, like when we go into, you know, very kanchong type, you know, and then you say, overwhelmed, then you can start to see me that I cannot produce word. Yeah.
Then cold sweat come in.
Like that, then you can see that my language is okay. But when I'm overwhelmed, that's it. I struggle. I even not like whenever I have I find myself lost in the public transport at a concourse area. You know, it's very noisy, and then and I don't know which line to take or which level. You know, sometimes you go to the wrong level, you end up taking the wrong line, or maybe the right line but go the different direction one. Yeah. And when in this situation is the anxiety built up, and then I will struggle with my language already. That is the point whereby I'm most vulnerable and I need the support, and I'm struggling and I don't have the language to ask for help. And then when you really need that, you reach out and go to the passenger service counter and ask for help. And they just look at you, you are young,
You're fine.
Yes, what are you, not able to describe what is the thing. So they get very impatient, and then I will ask them to give me paper because my words cannot come up, but I can still write. But they are not willing to do that. They just feel that I am giving them extra work. I have nothing better to do but to go and disturb them. Yeah.
Yes.
So that is the attitude barrier, attitudinal barrier that I really encounter when I'm in the public places because of my language.
The most important education that we have to provide, because people always look at young onset members and say, hey, fine, and I don't have to pay special attention. I don't have time. And like even going to a party, especially at one point of time, I couldn't recognize people, or I get the wrong, or there's a I couldn't find the words, or people just laugh or just continue with the conversation, and I don't get a chance to say what I want to say. And people do not realize that even the ones whom I have told that this is my issue, they cannot handle it. Like they have a memory problem. They cannot remember that I haven't.
Speaking from my own experience, a person with dementia sometimes forget easily. And so when we forget the things that we have just experienced or told, and when we forget, we start asking again, then some people, they may not understand.
Yes.
Right? And they may think that first, they may think that, well, we are trying to be a bit difficult or funny lah. Or you ask again and again.
Yeah.
But we ask because we are interested in continuing the relationship, and we want to be reminded of what has been told us or what event that has happened.
He feels is that sometimes he doesn't want them to wait, on him.
Yes.
Yeah, he feels like he's troubling them, So for most part, he doesn't like to do that, So he will always tell me, you make the orders, you do it, because he just doesn't want them to be standing there taking their time to ask him. You know how they can get sometimes when they are outside. Sometimes their voice will raise their voice.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So he gets that kind of nervousness. Then he will tell me, please, you do the ordering.
It is because we, like Rodney also, like me myself, we still have the insight of how the society view dementia, view people who are slightly different.
Yeah.
And then we have this fear, this anticipated fear. If I go down there and get something, and if I cannot find, or along the way something happened, if they ask questions, what are the questions they will ask? Will I be able to answer? And if I'm not able to answer, what kind of response these people will give to me? So all these kind of things,
I
it's
believe
really
so. I believe so.
build up all
I
our
believe
anxiety, the stigma that if the society could have understand and better understanding, and then this anticipated fear that we experience as a person living with dementia would minimize, would not be so overwhelming, because it is very overwhelming for us. Because we know, people are impatient, and then people will not be so open to help us, especially when we are not old, we are young, So that is one thing about that very subtle stigma that's still present in our society. It is not like the open stigma whereby, okay, you are not welcome here. But it's that subtle through the body language and things that is supportive. Like for me, when I have it, actually I have many times, but the first time have a very bad experience because it was happened at Amokyo Hub. And there was a long queue, and I go and do this, and then because nobody will look at me and say that I have some kind of disability or what, or dementia or what. So they thought that, you know, I am so mindless, you know, like as if I'm not paying attention. Say, yeah. So that really scares me off, especially when the voice is raised up. It's just like, oh my God, I better don't come here because I'm not welcome here. That is the message I get. So it takes me a very long time before I dare to go back to NK Hub, whereby I need to pass through this particular gantry. So now what I do is that if I go out with my family members, and I always ask my husband, you stand in front, because he also use the token, you see, okay, you do, so that I will remember, see. But if I want to go out by myself, then what I will do is I will take my thing out and I say, this one is scanned. Now I weigh around my neck, so I don't need to scan it because it is so sensitive.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
All I know is I need to do my hand and put it. Yes.
That we start irritating people that way lah. That's one conditions, you see. All right. Also, the other bit is that we tend, okay now, we don't tend to remember all the very important things. So to us, because we don't remember people who are related or who are in relationship with us or connected to us or talking to us, they may say, hey, I consider it so important telling you, and then you don't even remember.
Yes.
Right? And that, again, to them is a disappointment. So sometimes they will want to avoid us because of not that it's not important, it's important, but sorry, because I have dementia, I cannot remember the importance of it.
Earlier stage, whenever I want to go out, my husband would not let me go out myself. One of my children to with me, but subsequently I tell my family, please let me go out myself. I will bring my phone and then I will call y'all if I really don't know how to come back. I don't want to bother y'all. I want to be still independent, live like normal. So they slowly let go, and then now I can go everywhere.
I guess one of the biggest issue of having a dementia is that, you know, the assumption of incapacity of people living with dementia straight away, and they feel that we will not be able to take care of ourselves. And then if you make a very unwise choice, like for example, you let's say if a person is having vascular dementia and he or she has to take care of the vascular health, but the person's favorite food is bak chor mee or all those unhealthy food, so-called the one with high calories. And if the person happens to choose that not make that choice of food to eat, we don't take it as, you know, people generally will say, okay, you made a bad choice, but you don't take away that capacity to make the decision. But when it's a person living with dementia, straight away that decision, that unwise decision is being interpreted as not able to make decision, and let me take it over from you. I make the decision of what goes into your mouth. That is the biggest issue that I think most people living with dementia have. You know, if you make one wrong or one unwise decision, that's it. It's proof that you are not able to make decision.
My power is taken. Then I'm always frustrated. So I'm frustrated, so I don't trust you. So, you know, like, you don't know what I want, but I cannot tell you. So now we.
Oh, yes. I have had well-meaning friends or relatives mention, you know, like, yeah, your father has really slowed down, you know. So, you know, you have to make these choices for him and tell him what to do. Even once we were getting into a taxi, you know, and I'm a strong believer, I will not do for my father what he can do for himself.
Yes.
You know, because if he's capable of doing something, why should I do it for him? Right? And I wouldn't want to be treated that way myself. And the taxi driver was nagging at me and saying, you're the daughter, you know, you're the daughter, you should be taking care of your father and doing this and all that. I was thinking that's not his place to be saying that, you know.
Yeah.
And my father can put on his seatbelt by himself. You know?
Yes.
Right. And it was, you know, it gets hurtful sometimes, especially when it comes from somebody who knows my father, you know, and they just make the assumption that he is not capable. Yes, there are days when he's better, there are days when he's not so good. And on days that he's not so good, I make that extra effort, you know, to help him.
Yes.
And again, I'm still very mindful, because if he is capable of doing something, I don't want to take away that autonomy from him. You know, he's already had to give up so much of his independence, and he does not like being dependent on someone else. I mean, honestly, who would, right?
Yes, correct.
So having to make decisions for him indirectly, when people can talk straight to him, but they go to me in front of him and say, you know, you do this for your father or take him there and all that. And I'm like, no, he's capable of comprehending all of this. Have that conversation with him. You know, like most of the time, I'll tell the doctors, you know, I'll say, do you want to speak to my father alone first? You know, and then I come in, and if there's something that you need to let me know, you tell me. You know, because I believe he still needs that privacy and that independence, you know, to make certain choices by himself.
That kind of thinking actually come personally from me. I'm the one think that he has no capacity of making his own decision. I have to take over his thinking, his action. So I'm just like his twin, yeah. So I'm his speaker, the spokeswoman. So I was very stressed because I have that thoughts in me.
Yes.
Then when I joined Voices of Hope, you all, I mean, through sharing, I understand that we need to give him the independence of doing things by himself.
Yeah.
You know, the wife has dementia for already at least 7 years, and and then the you know, like she tripped over, and the husband asked her, "What's the matter with you?" What's the matter with her? What's the matter with you? You know, like, but this kind of things come out. You know, like a daughter bringing a father onto the bus, and I am sitting there, and she kind of shoved the father to go to a seat, and the father, no, I want to stand. And then she nudged the father again, sit down. Why are you so stubborn? And then she turns to me, because she's embarrassed. She turns to me and says, he's always like this, you know, always want to do things his way. Hey, hello. If you want things your way, why can't your father want things his way, right? But he's very clear he's not right, and so let him be comfortable and don't be embarrassed. That's the first thing I tell my daughter. First thing, don't be ashamed of me. This is who I am. The disease is the disease. It has nothing to do with me. But disease has visited me. So, okay, let's handle it together. And I want her to show me to the world, whatever state I'm in. I told her already, even if I'm in a wheelchair, I cannot walk, I'm dribbling, go out and show people and put there, this lady has dementia. This is the way you deteriorate. And this is the way life is. And the other message is, hey, hello, guys, don't talk too much and be careful, because dementia can hit anybody from actually now 30 onwards. Right?
Yes.
So
yes.
you think you are young and strong, and hey, hello, I'm generous, I want to show you what can happen. So be careful and be aware. And now today, know more about dementia, so that if anything happens to somebody in the family, you know, you are a little bit more prepared, right? And I say that from my own experience.
I want people to treat us like normal people. We just forgetful. We are not harming anybody. So when we walk into the mall or into the food court, just let us go in. Don't say, well, hey, don't sit with me, all this kind of thing. Because it's just a normal person with, I don't say dementia, our memory is not so clear, but we still are normal person. We don't harm anybody.
First, with a person with dementia, remember this. It's all up here in your mind. If you allow yourself to sink down and react to what people think negatively about you, then nothing much can be done. But if you can take the step forward and say, no, I am not like
very fast. You know, the world that we live in now, in dementia world, you know, we tend to be slower to process things and to understand things. So I guess my message would be to have more patience, a little bit more thought and understanding, you know. Yeah, and just take your time, you know, to, I mean, if you have the time, to take your time to understand more about the person that you are curious about, the next person you're curious about. Yeah, you know, rather than brush them aside and just, you know, put them down as old people so troublesome, or this person must be something not right in his head or whatever, you know. But yeah, maybe take the time to educate yourself and find out what is actually the real reason. You know, just don't brush us away.
Dementia is not contagious. Okay, it is just another phase in life. And people living with dementia are exactly that. They are people with dreams, with hope, with a lot of love in their lives. And yeah, the memories may come, memories may go, you know. There are even false memories, which everyone has got. So live and let live. Life is so short. Treasure every person that comes into your life, because at the end of the day, we are all stardust.
People living in dementia, kindly be respectful, especially from the children. You know, sometimes children have different misunderstanding, misconception